Hello, I'm Andrew Yang, and I'm running for president as a Democrat in 2020.
Hey guys, what's up today? It's the Casual Coder, and in today's video, what I'm going to be making is an Andrew Yang Twitter bot. Before I start this video though, I would like to say I don't have any political affiliations or biases. The reason why I made this bot for Andrew Yang was simply because I feel like out of all of the candidates or Democratic candidates, his policies are probably the most progressive with regards to internet. Out of all the candidates, he's the only candidate talking about automation and AI, so I feel he was the most appropriate to make a Twitter bot for. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace. As you can see, the first step is done. I've created the Andrew Yang Twitter account. Later on in the video I do change the name somewhat, but I'll leave the updated name in the description. The next thing I needed to do was to sign up to a Twitter developer account. If you wanted to make one yourself, all you really need to do is just follow the same process and just enter in the relevant information regarding your own app. It's very easy to get it confirmed unless you're doing something that's borderline idiotic or obviously illegal. But yeah. You don't really need to put that much effort into writing up the description. Simply filling out the minimum would do. As you can see here, I'm just testing out sending my first tweet using the Twitter bot. It works, and now the next thing for me to do is work on seeing if I can tweet at someone or reply to a user. So yeah, after a bit of time working at it, I finally managed to get tweeting at a user working. So yeah, as you can see, I just tweeted at Andrew Yang. The progress is going pretty good so far at this stage. It's only been like 30 or so minutes, so it's not too bad. Hey guys, what's up? As of recording this video, I just checked the New York Times, and it says that Andrew Yang is planning to drop out of the race. I really hoped at least he would have made some traction in New Hampshire, but unfortunately this wasn't the case. I still think there's a place for Andrew Yang in politics or whatever avenue he chooses to pursue in the future. I really did think out of all of the candidates, Andrew Yang was the most progressive internet-based candidate whose ideas and policies weren't beyond our standard preconceptions of democratic policy, and his internet-focused approach is something really commendable. But yeah, I'm still gonna put this out and still gonna use the Twitter bot, but yeah, it's quite sad, to be honest. Back into the video. As you can see here, for the longest time, I was trying to find a way to use Tweepy to figure out if Andrew Yang was following me, but for whatever reason, I
just couldn't get it to work. Thankfully, like always, Stack Overflow came to my rescue, and after trolling through countless questions, I finally was able to find one that was able to help me, which is good, because that took way too long. So here again, Stack Overflow comes to the rescue. What I was trying to do here was create a day tracker. So there's like a lot of Twitter accounts that post, like, for example, day 100 of this and this happening, or day 100 of this person not following us. So I wanted to create that, but for Andrew Yang not following this account. Again, that took a while because I was trying to find a way to import the current date, so the starting date, and then compare it to what today's date was, without trying to slow down the bot itself or make it lag out. Again, this took a while, and you'll notice in my working that I actually stuffed up the equation where I was subtracting the base date from today's date. So later on I discovered that this would end up giving me negative days as the days continued. I remediated this and fixed this later on, but it was just something to note that I simply just glossed over it and made a pretty simple mistake. Also, I don't know why at the time I thought storing it in an array was a good idea. In hindsight, I should have just stored it as a variable or as a string and just compared it in that way. But yeah, other than that, the process for calculating the date was actually quite simple, and I thought it would require much more thinking and code for that, but it was only a couple of lines, and I was pretty happy with that. So now that I established the day tracker, the next thing I wanted to work on was retweeting. So that's what I set about doing. What I was doing here was to make sure that I was only getting tweets from Andrew instead of things that he had retweeted or what other people had retweeted. And yeah, again, that wasn't too hard either. I thought that there would be more steps involved, but it was really just a simple if statement. By this stage, I had finally gotten retweeting to work. For some reason, it kept timing out, but I decided at that stage, yeah, I could work on that later, and I decided to move on to other things. But for that stage of the program, it was definitely workable. I realized now that there are a lot of error checking that I just simply glossed over, and I found that out while I was testing this bot. In hindsight, I should have paid more attention to exception handling and utilizing that. That's definitely something I can work on and continue to add to this bot. I've noticed through following Andrew Yang as well as just checking social media, there is a consensus that Andrew Yang suffers from a media blackout. So as a way to remedy this, I decided to make a way to retweet at or tweet at the largest mainstream media outlets. And yeah, again, this wasn't, once I had gotten retweeting down, doing this process wasn't too hard at all. While I was working through this, I noticed that we actually got our first like. I was pretty surprised about that, considering just how generic the content was, but I guess it's Twitter and there will be someone for everything, you know, that just proves it. While I was working on the bot, the Oscars were ongoing. We'll say shout out to Parasite for picking up 4 Oscars. It's very well deserved. And yeah, I think for the most part, all of the Oscars were pretty consistent and decently chosen. Again, there's great disparity with regards to gender inequality as well as ethnic diversity. I think Parasite winning so many is a step forward, but again, there's still a lot to be done in my opinion. I also do think Claws, or pretty much How to Train Your Dragon, but definitely Claws, should have won Best Animated instead of Toy Story 4. I really think that was a kind of crappy choice, to be honest. But yeah, I did get distracted, just scrolling through Twitter. So right here, with regards to sending out tweets to the mainstream media outlets, what I decided to do was take in user input and use that to send messages to each of the mainstream media outlets. So basically, I would type in my input, it would then iterate through the array, and at each position, for example at position 0 at Fox, it would send that message to Fox, then move to the next position, send that message, and so on and so forth. There are probably, again, multiple ways to do this, but I just felt that was like the easiest way and most convenient. Here I'm just testing out, seeing if tweeting at the mainstream media outlets work. And after dealing with a little bit of like internet delay, slowdown, it does work. And the only reason why it's delayed on my part is because I set it to sleep for 10 seconds just to make sure I didn't overload or be called out for spam. But yeah, that part works. The next thing I wanted to work on was creating an auto-liker / retweeter. And yeah, that's the next thing I set about working on. So after coding through it, I ended up running through Andrew's tweets and just liking them all. What I did notice is that it timed out. Again, that's probably subject to some more debugging. But yeah, it did time out, and again, like I mentioned before, it was error prone. That would throw up errors if I had previously liked a tweet, because I had no capturing of errors. But yeah, that part works. And now one of the more memeier parts, I guess. Nothing screams being more robotic than a robot that likes anything that it wants. So yeah, that's what I wanted this bot to do. Just like any tweets relating to Andrew Yang itself, any mentions that the bot would get. And yeah, just being able to track through as many, or troll through as many tweets as possible and just like them. I could have gone with an AI approach to make it smarter, but again, at this stage, I just wanted to keep it simple, so I just left a couple of keywords that would be positively associated with Andrew Yang, such as his name for the most part. Again, his name could have been used negatively, but you know, hashtag gang gang, stuff like that. But yeah, that was a pretty fun way to just like a whole bunch of tweets. And not even just like them, but use the big buzzword of automation. So I didn't have to like the tweets myself, the bot did it for me. As you can see, it basically works. I just made the simple mistake of deleting the brackets when it says favoriting. Again, that's what tunnel vision does to you after you've been coding for a while. You just make simple mistakes and you don't know why things aren't working. And yeah, that's what happened to me. After rewatching this, I noticed that, and I set about correcting it. And yeah, this is basically the conclusion of it. It took me 3 hours to make this, which is probably one of the longest consecutive coding sessions I've done in a while. The layout's pretty simple, so you can see the import statements there, and the initial part is just reading from the text file that had my access keys and and the rest of it is just divided section by section based on how I was working through. So for example, at the start it just has a section or a part of the code dedicated to user input. Again, I could use functions, but I'm lazy. But yeah, I left this bit at the end so you can just have a look through the code, see what it looks like. I will put up the GitHub as well, and also of course the Twitter account for you guys to follow. But yeah, feel free to make any changes, make your own bot if you wanted to. This was just something I thought of making and had fun doing. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
If you've heard anything about me and my campaign, you've heard that someone is running for president who wants to give every American $1,000 a month.